council councilperson who states if you had have asked me first, this is on with 18 other properties, and there are some issues. They have requested some documents that the city has not gotten to them yet also. Furthermore, the city listed the building as being occupied, but stated in council it was not occupied. They still have their belongings there. They have not been served an eviction. So that puts the city at liability. So it is our job not only to protect the city from further litigation, which we aren't if we decide to drop my special order and not yours, and with absolutely no respect. You have not worked to save the House of Esther. You have been continuously going against it. And on that 18 list is Jefferson. So there are other properties where people are occupying. Has House of Esther been given the same consideration as the other homes which residents are still living in? They're not up there. That sets the city up for litigation. Those properties, people still live in them. They technically still are occupied. So when all this comes up, because in this council, we work so hard to not work together, but to find problems, number one, to go tit for tat. But when you have projects, you want somebody to support your project. It has gotten utterly ridiculous. It's not in my ward, but I support homeless teen moms and babies to change the trajectory. Because one thing about them, when we pulling over these cars and we talk about crime, a lot of these are young people, and a lot of them are born out of the water crisis, giving them an opportunity. And it's just amazing to me, and it's unfortunate. We are a split council. And we're probably going to stay that way because people have drawn these lines in the sand and do all of this stuff that's just you've never seen before. And it's not just based on one person. It's based on several people here. So House of Esther is important. It's a benefit to the community. They're still housed there, still there. We're putting up a property that they're saying is occupied on the city website. You can check it on the property portal, which means they should be given the same consideration as the other tenants or people who are in properties that are on that 18 list of homes. They haven't been doing this. We cannot change the process for one and do it for the other. And for the record, they have obtained an attorney. They have. So before you so rudely decide to drop and ask for, I wish you could have texted me. I would have told you. Have no problem sharing that. I would have absolutely shared with you where they're at and what I know. But we come here day after day or week after week to make a point. Stop making a point on something that's going to benefit the community. Nothing has came and talked about money to the city of Flint. Nothing goes to the north side. Now people think they're not going to get ARPA funds. We're asking for something on the north side, which north side people, lower income people can benefit from. So.
Man, that's a strong woman right there. I wonder, is that same woman I'm looking at right now? That's that Councilman Burns over there speaking up.
You know, Rich, I'm gonna always speak up because for me, we don't get too many redos. And you were out there picketing, I'm not gonna say protesting for the water crisis, and I was too. And it was, most of those protests were in the winter. It was cold.
Very cold.
And we look at who fights for Flint. I ain't seen some of these people protesting, putting their reputation and putting their money where their mouth is. I haven't seen that. And that to me is a problem.
Serious problem.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to jump off a subject, but it's something that I gotta say.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the way that you're working with the people. I appreciate the way you're listening to the people, because right now we are being dictated to. I've been holding conversation with different people and different council people and stuff, and it's a dictatorship going on right now. And I really appreciate you as being one of the few, and I mean the very few, that is listening and then speaking. So thank you very much for that, Miss Burns. Thank you very much.
Rich, I'm always keep it I think they used to say copacetic. That's taking it way back. But even when I ran, I know you tried to stay neutral, but you supported another candidate, but we were cool. And at the end of the end of, hey, what can I do to help you, is what you came to me to say. And that's what it's supposed to be, and they make a point of, I get, Councilman Mays is, bless his heart,
He's over.
he done told me off, I done told him off, and it's not going to be the end, because it's in our culture, which for the culture, listen, y'all shop comic book store, shop local Black business, happy Black History Month. But when we have that one in our community, a lot of us speak passionately. Everyone, even though he is educated, that's just who he is. So how do you work with him? Because each person is different. He's not the only one doing point of informations and point of orders. He's just not. Councilman Mays is fighting for House of Esther. It's in his ward, and he should. I mean, he doesn't have any little children. His children are grown. He has grandchildren. And so when we talk about, how do we support House of Esther and people in our community, everyone has a responsibility to do that. Now, when Quincy Murphy decided to jump out there and say, I want it taken off, and just total disrespect. I mean, you're not showing me you're trying to work together. I mean, what he does, because they always send him up there to be the one to let somebody know he just voluntarily wants to be that person. Well, I'm gonna let him know.
Dictator.
Well,
That dictator.
And
I
don't know if he's a
I
dictator.
call it like I see it. They dictating us. They dictating.
Well, I don't. You cannot say I'm gonna work with a council and have that attitude, because I'm gonna tell you, he got that. He's saying he got this $1 million coming for St. John. Roll it back, and I'll send you the pictures. When it came for St. John's, and he was arguing with the DNR people, he has so much to say. I got up out my seat. My people from St. John. St. John, a whole different group of people. And so Quincy had just acted each time they came. They're so difficult. I met with him. They had given $85 million to Detroit for their project similar to St. John. And so I set the date up. I even, and I called Councilman Murphy. I may have sent him a text. I have to look to see if I text him. And invited, I said, well, let's go down there together. Let's see what they have to say. It takes everybody. Now, he want to say, oh, okay, I did this all by my, no, you didn't. You weren't even listening. He was acting a fool that day in council. And what they not going to do, and how come you didn't include this? And the man was telling him with the DNR, his name was Mike, he was saying, hey, we can use this to connect with, I believe it's the Ironwood Trail, and we can connect that to where the trail goes all the way through, I think up to Wisconsin. And so when you get council people who saying, I'm not going to support your project, and here it is, I'm going to support whomever project, and it's going to benefit the city, because that's what it's about. I'm going to go the extra mile. I'll give you the pictures to show you when I was there. The St. John group was there, and Quincy showed up there, because this is your ward. You need to be championed for this. Now, he said working for him. He had talked about, I'm not going to do this. He had talked, and matter of fact, I probably need to go pull the tape at council where he was so disrespectful to them. Sometimes you can cut off your blessings or cut off the hand that's going to give you your blessing. I'm like, no, I'm listening to the DNR. He's saying we may be able to do something. And they were able to do something where they're giving this $1 million grant. And see, that's the thing when we talk about not working together. It is the role and responsibility of whoever is the council president is to bring this council together. To be impartial and non-biased. We don't have that. We don't have that now. And when and I know I'm talking House of Esther, how they doing it, it's just dirty. It's dirty. It's dirty how they doing it, because you'll hear them say, I'm going to give to this, I'm going to give to that. The Children's Museum, $36,000 for that property. The property next to the retail value sold for $740,000. So how you tell me were they okayed for that? We have got Bishop Airport property. They didn't give any presentation, came up there, paid $90,000 for property right at Bishop Airport. That's prime property. where you get a commercial lot for that price. And it's been others. So when they talk about, well, we have a responsibility to do it for a certain price, that's hogwash. That's absolutely BS. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand you, Tonya, and I see exactly where you're coming from because I feel for the Esther House of Esther also, and I really feel that 71 million or 61,000, whatever, whichever one it was, I think it should have been accepted, given to the city, and right now we should have been talking about renovating that building and improving the quality of life that they plan on serving those young ladies with. I feel right now we're behind the eight ball. I think like I said, we should be preparing that building to do great service instead of arguing over who's going to be occupying the building. And the same for Jefferson School. I feel Jefferson School needs to be open, and it needs to be. And I talked to Councilman Murphy, and
Mhm.
I expressed that I am not going. I'm going to raise all kinds of hell. Whoever gets Jefferson School, and they don't include those two apartment complexes behind there. There's too many kids behind Jefferson School
Yeah.
for anybody to have the dike bursting. So whenever there's people in the building, there's cars everywhere. It got to go back to the day. I want back in the day action to where we had walkers. People walked to Burston. People walked to Jefferson. People walked up to Garfield. People walked to Dewey, and they was full. So that's what I wanna see. That's what I want to bring back as far as that is concerned.
Well, and I think it's important for us to have places, especially community centers where kids can go. There were some children, Lizzie Liz, and I forget the other lady's name, who live in the city of Flint, saw four, I think it was four children, three, one, two, three, four children were walking around all day. And this was last summer. And the children, I think the youngest was 10, and they were planning to sleep in the park, and at Longfellow. And so they have followed them. And then everyone, made some calls. You know, we couldn't get, it took forever to get police to come because they didn't handle that. And then Child Protective Services. It was the most disturbing thing when you have children who were going to sleep in the park. We went and got them something to eat. The police finally did come. I was able to get a sergeant to come. And then it just played out. They got in contact with the mom, and the mom, the house, the condition of the home had no electricity. It had no water, and Child Protective Services said it was okay for them to stay there without going into the home. You could smell what the home, from standing in the street, not even the sidewalk, the street. So what they allow children who live in poor communities to live with is, to me, it's disgusting, and it's not the same. You aren't supposed to. A child's not supposed to be. You have to have running water and electricity. So that meant they had no cold food. The mom was saying, I would get meat, and she had a cooler on the porch, and she would have meat in there. But the kids were hungry. They didn't have food. So when we look at, like you say, having places for kids to go, it's important because they felt like it's safe at the school. They were going to stay there at night and sleep in the park behind the school. So it's important for us to have places for our teens, and even the House of Esther. We look at young teen moms who are in the foster care system who have said, I want to keep my baby. If you are in foster care, most of the time, you're a teenager, you're not there because you have role model parents generally. There are
Hmm.
some serious issues. So the House of Esther's, they provide life skills for young teen moms and their babies. There are 21 rooms already pre-decorated. They're decorated. They're complete. The renovations were to go down to they had gutted the bottom part of like the kitchen and some other living areas. And so they were working on it. When people try to make a point with people who are in need and forget about the community, hate Eric Mays all you want to, but love your community and teen moms more than you hate your adversary or what you consider to be your enemy. It's about the community. And that was lost. That was, you know,
Tonya, I'm,
that
I'm finna hit.
that
I'm
was
finna hit you
lost.
with a bomb right quick. I'm finna hit you with a bomb right quick because they're finna build tiny homes on Stewart Street between Saginaw and North, and they're gonna put ex felons and homeless people in those houses,
Hmm.
and they're basically not asking us what we want. They're basically going off of your council person said he want them. Your council person ain't talked to all of us. We want homes. And since, and the person that I was talking to, I was like, and because that was a Catholic charity person, I
Hmm.
said, since y'all just gonna just throw them up on Stewart Street, don't y'all also own property in the 7th Ward? They said, yeah. I said, the same way. Don't ask the community. Don't ask the people in the 7th Ward nothing. Just throw some up and put the homeless and the veterans that are homeless in those tiny homes. And put it on Lapeer Street. Put it on Front Street too. Stewart Street, that's Front Street. Where they have tiny homes at, it's like their own hidden neighborhood.
But people
Hey,
don't
hey,
want to see and deal with poor people. They want to always hide people. And when you talk about eminent domain, they all eminent domain is where they all went. St. John's. They go in where there's minority and poor people. You don't have an opinion. It happened eminent domain in Detroit. The same thing. And now the federal government has said, you know what? We're giving you $85 million because we messed over you back in the 60s, and now they're in 50s to try to fix it. But the thing is, we got Black people who scared to recognize you Black. Ain't nobody white ever asked me to not be my Black self as a woman. Not ever. I have dealt with white Republican, generally men in my industry. Not one time have I had to not be who I am. They didn't ask me to be something different other than my culture. They did. And they respect that. Why? I never asked a Jewish person, a Middle Eastern person, a Chinese person, a white person to not love their culture. I should be able to love my culture as much as they love theirs. And I do. And I'm going to be proud of it every day. And if for me, it's Black History 365.
hey, Miss Burns, Miss Tanya Burns, we got a question in the comments. Hold on a second. Hold on. Dante Old Squad, he said, okay, Miss Burns, can y'all work with the people?
Now, Dante comes into council quite a few times, and I've taken several of his calls. He stopped calling me though, because he would call. You got to work with people who want to work with you, and they got to, like I say, they got to love the community. They come in there setting up a whole issue to the council, but when it comes with the community, I took I don't know how many calls today about water. I didn't know that there was no water over there, no water pressure over there by um, I have to read it. No water pressure over there by the break. And well, this is what I got. One of the talk calls. And they said the property, they said by the Michigan School of Deaf, they've been without water and any water since Friday morning. No water to drink, bathe, or even flush toilets. That's not my area. But when people call, if they've called and they didn't get a response, if my number's up there, I'm gonna do what I can do to help them and share the information. I believe in being transparent. I'm gonna work with all the people, even the people who have a
Hey, Mi-
problem.
hey, Ms. Barnes, I got a question for you. So
Yeah.
I understand. I see you enjoy doing your job, but
Some
is,
days it's
listen,
hard.
hold on, hold on. So is you like 7-Eleven always open, or do you got a closing time and open time where you help the people?
No, I'm 7-Eleven, 24/7. I mean, that's me. You know, when I took this job, I knew what it consisted of. It is technically a part-time job, a part-time pay, but you cannot treat this like it's part-time and be effective as you should, because you just can't. And for me, when people call, I answer. I get back with you. And I knew that's what I signed up for. People had when I campaigned, they had my personal cell phone number. You call on my personal cell phone number, guess what? I still answer it. You call on my city phone number, I still answer it. If people call on my business phone number and need some, I answer it. That is my job.
And
If
I'm going,
somebody
I'm going,
calling me at
I'm going
4 o'clock in the morning because of
to
gunshots,
answer.
guess what? I answer it. That's what, and I'm not going to stop doing that. I mean, and I
Or
have
let, I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second. Give it right back to you. Let me add in a little bit. Or she calls back. She calls back. If you do something while she's in city council meeting and she can't get to you, she will call you back. Maybe the next day, because those city council meetings run a little bit long. But I am a witness to that. She does call back far as she calls me back, and people that I've talked to that have called her has also said it. And I get a little bit of jealous because she kind of answered their phone calls a little bit quicker than mine.
Listen, Brenda Boyd is on the show. So Tonya answers her phone at 2 in the morning. Brenda just called me at 2 something in the morning a couple days ago. And she's like, hey girl. I'm like, hey Brenda, what's up? This is 2 in the morning, because that has always been like my quiet time, to where I'm used to doing reports. So I'm a natural third shifter for some reason. I think I was born that way.
Yeah, I can understand that. But like I said, I appreciate you, and the people whose phone calls, they greatly appreciate you. They
Whatever I can
greatly
do,
appreciate you.
whatever I can do to help. I mean, that's what I'm here for, is to help. I want our community to be better off than when I found it in my ward. That's why I went to work right away on issues. When I was knocking doors, I was taking notes and I got started ahead of time. That I found that I walked up on the rat house. Literally, I just got on my vehicle. I'm like, it is rats in this house. It was in the first floor window and the second floor window. I always like a plan. I had a 6-point action
Hey,
plan.
hey, hey Ms. Barnes,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, but Lorraine Lawson Thompson says, I'm not understanding why it's so much scrutiny and hoops for projects on the north side. It has only been a few requests, such as that car lot and the food market.
The car lot one was ridiculous. He came up there with renderings and drawings and about a million times to explain. And part of our policy for property disposition policy does not require you to have a presentation. It does not. And just like the city administrator, when I asked him, he said, "Well, somebody did. It was a House investor didn't give, or somebody didn't give didn't give a." And I said, it's not required. The city administrator should know its own property disposition policy. It does not require a presentation at all. So when you look at that, if they don't know how they going, the city, that's a problem. So back to Lorraine, why does it take so long for stuff to get done? First ward is, Councilman Mays and the mayor do not get along. And I mean, they do not. When I work for the mayor, Lorraine, because I'm fully transparent, he told me to not answer my phone for him. I told Eric Mays all the time, I told the mayor, I have to answer the phone for everyone, because those residents in that ward have the right to have a voice at City Hall and to be heard. Mays would call me. And what people don't know, Mays, Pastor Mays is married to my aunt. When he passed away, my aunt Martha Mays. So it's like it's a respect. I'm not gonna now not answer my phone because that he's calling me. He has an issue. The residents, I'm gonna do what I can do to help. That's what you're supposed to do. You cannot be a leader over the city and say I'm gonna isolate a certain group because I'm gonna punish this one person. You can't do that. You can do it, but you should not be doing it. And that's where the residents in that ward, you get what 8,000-9,000 people packed up in there. They need to come and speak. Because I was told when I worked for him, do not answer the phone. And I always answered. And then he would call on, Mays had my personal cell phone number. I'm like, I'm not gonna not answer my phone. If any of them call, I'm gonna answer. Kate Fields would call, I would answer. Monica Galloway would call for something, I would answer. Right? Any of the councilmen or council people would call, then I would answer. You don't shut down. The mayor and Mays need to figure out how to get along together. They need to figure that out.
Hey, Miss Tanya, let me I want to play that clip about the breaking news last night about the Channel 12 was talking about the lawsuits. I want to switch it up right quick. Hold on. Let me play this clip. Hold on.
Yeah, Dawn and Terry, this is the document they did not want the public to see. And I have to tell you, there is a lot in here. And as you mentioned, the initial lawsuit involved more than a dozen of City of Flint employees from various departments. But the heart of a recent settlement focused on the Flint PD and a $175,000 payout to a female detective.
It concerns me, and it should concern every citizen in the city of Flint.
Flint City Councilman Eric Mays going on the record. He believes settling this lawsuit is wrong for the city, wrong for the people of Flint.
For me, it could be a cover-up.
The 2019 lawsuit alleging sexual harassment and discrimination within Flint City Hall. The most damning part, though, allegations involving Flint Police Detective Mary Buzik, who claims she was sexually harassed by fellow officer Tyrone Booth through phone calls and text messages asking her to perform oral sex. Earlier in her career, she was directed to perform oral sex on her supervisor, then Sergeant Devin Bernritter. When she refused Booth's sexual advances, the lawsuit claims she received unfair and manufactured disciplines.
The facts of the case would be most embarrassing and humiliating from where I sat.
When we look at this entire case, it's a hot mess. It's a mess.
Flint City Council recently voting on a $175,000 settlement for Buzik. The details shared with council members in executive session and can't be shared with the public.
Once we went into executive session and listened to legal matters, we listened to all sides, and we came up with a conclusion that we felt like this is the best thing for the city of Flint to settle this lawsuit.
Sometimes the best interest of the city is to clean up mess.
I had to turn it up a notch, Miss Tanya. What you think, man? What's your opinion about what's going on?
I mean, I'm going to say, number one, I'm a female, and sexual harassment is serious.
Yes.
It's very serious. And I knew about this case before, it's been going on.
It broke, right.
Yeah, before it broke. And it is a hot mess. When you talk about, when you read, because everyone's put it up, it's everywhere. Mid-Michigan Now did a spot on it in 2019. And so they covered it. When you look at protecting women in the workplace, and well, sex harassment can be for anyone because men can be sexually harassed also. But when we look at the allegations, they were very strong. We did not have a I'm saying that entire case. I read the entire one. I didn't remember all of it. So our briefing, we did not have all of it. And I was disturbed. It was very explicit. And when you talk about what happened, you don't do that. And let's talk about what they did in Tennessee. Tennessee, where they had the lady who slept with I don't know how many people. All of them got fired. All of them. They had a case in the 1980s, and I think he was a trainer, and it was the city of Flint. And some of the women had to, he was sleeping with them, and he was telling them, if you want to get promoted, you want to get this, you're going to have to, it was sexual favors. I mean, it was the Department of Justice or the FBI. One of them were in here. They cleaned them out. The city lost a lot of money paying out on sexual harassment suits. I know Connie, a friend of mine, she was, proposition. Connie got almost $400,000. And, she didn't sleep with anyone, but there was a group of women. This was going around in the police department in the 80s. So what do we have to do? We know we have a problem. What I would like to have heard for the chief of police, Chief Green, to say, I take sexual harassment seriously in the workplace. What I will be doing is implementing a new sexual harassment policy. We're going to make sure that all of these guidelines are adhered to, and we're going to make sure that all people and women especially are protected in the workplace so that this does not happen again.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, let me cut you off right quick. Instead, the chief did this. He tap danced all around the question. You know what I mean? Which made, like Eric said, made him look bad, man.
Let me chime in on this for a minute. I feel that he should have walked into office, and the mayor should have been working on this policy as soon as they were elected. And yeah. I don't even understand why Chief Booth was even left on staff. So,
and I think that he knew about it because I worked for him. I knew about it. Yeah. I mean, the mayor knew about it. I worked for him at the time, and this was discussed. So this has nothing to do with our executive session. This conversation, I mean, this goes way back
years ago, 2018.
Right. But I think what a lot of people, and let me tell you, I have never gotten so many disturbing emails in regards to why aren't the women saying anything on city council? Why aren't the women saying anything? And that's not true. Jerry Winfrey Carter is speaking out. I have spoke out. There were 3 people who voted no to accept this. I voted no. Councilwoman Jerry Winfrey Carter voted no, and Councilman Mays voted no. And it's not ever okay. Now, people can set aside friendships, relationship. This has nothing to do with that. These were things that there was a culture or environment at that time that this needed to be cleaned up. And not talking about it makes the public feel, especially when you don't have a new policy, that you've done nothing about it. I'm still asking for a public safety plan. I mean, some of the basic things. So if you want the public to be with you, show the public you're being proactive. And when we talk about when, they got into the challenge with him and Councilman Mays, I'm going to tell you, that went south. It went down like the Titanic.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, you want me to play it? I got it. Will we play it? Hey, let me chime in right quick. My opinion about it, like you say, sexual assault is serious. It's not just in the women, it's in men too. They do it in prisons all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know they got a lawsuit back in I think it was in like 2010 or something like that. It was in Huron Valley or something. They was in there getting the inmates pregnant and stuff and just doing all type of stuff. But like you say, it's real serious. But
that lawsuit, her name is Renee. Renee was paid out of that lawsuit, and Renee, you don't get over some things, how sexual harassment,
mental health,
correct. And she has had some serious issues ever since then. When someone, people may think, oh, well, you can handle this, and this is, you're tough or whatever. You're not. You're not always.
Mental health.
Right. And if
Mental
you're
health.
a woman, it is common that you're going to be, you're going to experience sexual harassment or people saying inappropriate things and doing inappropriate things in the workplace. I've had it. I have had it. It's how you handle it. Now, do you file lawsuits? Some people do. And it depends on who it is and how you handle it. I work with mostly men in my business and industry. I dealt with all the inappropriate things and people being, saying things. So when people get, this is the nice Councilwoman Tonya Burns, other people can get the other part. And I have no problem putting it where it's at.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, let's check the clip out. Let's check the clip out. Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, and while y'all
a lot of people ain't see it.
doing that clip, I'm gonna move this TV. So go on and play the clip.
All right, Rich.
Through you to the chief. Chief, you familiar with this case, Matt Baker et al. Versus the city of Flint?
I just know it's a lawsuit. I'm not familiar with the details at all.
So you don't know about the details of no lawsuits?
What I just said, I'm not familiar with the details of that lawsuit.
Of this lawsuit?
That's correct.
But you do know about certain lawsuits in the police department. You're not saying that you don't know about certain lawsuits.
I know about them, but I don't know the details. Any lawsuit, only lawsuits I'm familiar with is the ones that's been filed since I've been here, which are none.
So you over police department, and you telling me you don't keep up with personnel and lawsuits unless they were filed when you were here. That's what you're telling me?
That's correct.
So you don't know nothing about...
That's what I just said. No, I don't.
Now let me speak, please. Why you want to cut me off? I got more than one question. I mean, what do we have to do to get respect around here? Go and talk to the cows come home. It don't hurt my time. And then when you finish, you let me speak. Go ahead.
I just answered your question.
And I was going with another one, and you went to... I'm looking at your demeanor and your tone.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, it ain't necessary. Not in this meeting with me. My question was going to be, so you telling me that you ain't familiar with the case where Booth was just all over the news. You don't know nothing about that.
Asked and answered.
But is it truthful?
Asked and answered.
Is it truthful?
Asked and answered.
See, I like an honest chief. If you were under oath and you said you didn't know about the Booth case or nothing about it, I would think you would be committing perjury. Now, that's what I would think. I could be dead wrong.
You dead wrong.
Oh, okay, so you didn't hear what we heard on the news.
Asked and answered.
You know that man was asking somebody for oral sex. It's been all on the news. And I don't like police chiefs.
Well, I disagree with what you just stated. I disagree with what you just stated.
You didn't ever hear that?
I disagree with what you just stated. You made it sound like a fact, and you don't know that.
You say I made it sound like a fact. I said it was all on the news that they were talking about Booth and all sex. That a lady right there on Channel 12, Miss Dawes, who I think ran it and then put the complaint on the Channel 12 website. And I'm saying you the chief.
I don't care. I don't care who's in here. You asked the question, I answered.
So if you angry because I'm bringing it up?
No, I'm angry because...
Okay, then go and talk to the cows come home.
I will.
When you finish, I'll talk again.
You always accuse of someone of cover up. The only person that covers up anything is you.
Hey, man, you could have cooked an egg on dude's head, man. Eric, I mean, they talk that stuff about Eric, man, but Eric no protocol. He know what he know, man. You know what I mean? And that's crazy, man. I was crazy, man. That was
that display in exchange was horrible. And number one,
you could have rolled that clip on 10 more seconds.
That
you could have rolled that clip on 10 more seconds. You can have the floor, Miss Burns. I just had to say that, but he could have rolled that 10 more seconds.
Somebody, Ms. Lorraine Lawson, say that man is so out of pocket. I don't know if she talking about Eric, or I don't know if she talking about the chief.
well,
but that's what she said.
not Councilman Mays. I'm
It
quite
can't
sure.
be Mays.
No, it's not Miss Lorraine who comes
Scroll
down.
line say, shout out to brother Eric Mays for speaking out. That's right.
And here's the thing: when you challenge Councilman Mays, you know where that's going to go. And the composure for the chief, he lost it. And when he told him, you've been convicted of things, he gave him the mic and put it on the floor. I'm like, this just isn't good, because Councilman Mays just started, well, let me talk about this, and and at that point you knew where this was going to go, and it's not good. I mean, what I would have liked to have heard from the chief, and I would still like to hear from him, is that he is making sure he is updating the sexual harassment policy. That he's ensuring that he's protecting female officers in the workplace, because it's not just a problem here in Flint, it's a problem all over the country with the ones that happen in Tennessee. And so when you are a department head, that's your job to lead, and that's a problem.
Hey,
and even though, and when they state, and we talked about it, it happened underneath the prior administration, and we talked about this on the floor, but she has a workman's comp that was issued. She went out of work underneath this administration, the administration. So, council, we brought that up, not at this meeting, I think the meeting before last, that he brought that up, that there's two sides of this. So when we look at how long this went on without being handled, it went on too long. When you have people who don't want to say, you know what, there's no sexual harassment happening in this place, I'm going to handle it.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, I just think the chief didn't answer the question politically correct, man. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. And he didn't answer the question correctly. He was all around, you know what I mean? You could tell, he frigidity and lost for words, man. That ain't no good look for the chief of police of Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, I feel Ms. Burns put it perfectly when I call it a missed opportunity. That could have been a bad moment made to make him look good, and he just looked worse to me. That's my opinion of it. He did himself no justice.
Now, even though both of you are men, I mean, you got all these are men making these decisions and these missteps. These are men, and that is a serious problem for me, because when you talk about sexual harassment, the first thing that people like to do is, well, let's attack that woman's character. Let's attack her reputation. Let us slut shame her and make her look like a whore. And that's what happened. That's not what happened. Because at some point, if she slept with you, you slept with her. So this is the part that I don't, her reputation is being attacked. It's not I don't know her like that. I do not. But what I would like to have seen, it kept professional, and to say, hey, we're going to make sure we're going to strengthen we're going to fix we're working with the legal department now to make sure that we have an updated sexual harassment policy, and we're going to send the police department through training so that they understand what the boundaries are, so that we can make sure it's clear what you can, what you can't do, and then have them sign off. So if you ever have another incident like this, you whip out that paper that's in their file. Oh, no, you went through training. You're very clear what it is. And you made this mistake, see ya. And then let them try to sue, because everybody sues Flint. You have a department that people are not following, and it's a problem. That I think asking, when Councilman Mays asked about that one case, he was asking about the one case. There were, I think, 17 of them. And so when you have so many of them, I did not even remember which one. Her case wasn't even on there. So I don't even know how that came up. Those two got into it, and it was nothing you could do. It's just
That's
like,
how I would.
you just have to just watch it play out. And Councilman Mays isn't done yet.
And hopefully,
He's not.
Let me play. Hey y'all, hey guys, let me play the other end of the clip. It's only like a minute. Hold on.
What am I covering up? The mic is yours. Am I covering up a girlfriend? Am I covering up a dope? What am I covering up that you just accused me of publicly? What am I covering up? Go ahead, the mic is yours. See, Chief, you discrediting yourself in front of me. I think you're a liar to say I'm going to cover up. You the police. Tell this public what you accusing me of covering up. Is it dope? Is it girls? Is it, because I can talk about some of what I think you don't want to come out. So go ahead. You said it with a frown on your face. You the big man. Tell this public and council, I'm asking you respectfully, what am I covering up? Or you just said that to try to defame or discredit me? Because I said you knew about the Booth case. Go ahead, don't get quiet now. You was out talking me. What are you alleging that I'm covering up, Chief?
Mr. Mace, that's your time.
Madam Chair, you say what?
That's your time.
I'll call him back up in the second round. I don't care if they...
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Dummy. You big dummy. You big dummy. You big dummy. You big cold-blooded dummy. You big dummy. See what you did? Oh, no, you big dummy. Oh, no, you big dummy. You dummy.
Eric made the chief look bad, man. He the big dummy. He the big dummy of the week, man. I couldn't resist it. I couldn't resist it.
But we cannot say Councilman Mays made the chief look bad. Chief made himself look bad.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
He should have came up there. He's a department head. He should have been able to answer the question, and he should have came up there talking about, hey, I can't speak to that. There's ongoing, litigation. It's in court now. Or their favorite answer is, I'll get back with you. Can you put it in the email? That's how they normally get them. They didn't even use the play in their own playbook. Can you send an email? No, and he don't do no email. So they didn't use their own play in their own playbook. When people's emotions get involved, they get thrown off course. But what they need to do is fix this, because I want to see a new sexual harassment policy. I had someone contact, some people about the Me Too movement. This is serious. Women should be protected. This is a problem. They need a policy. They need to talk about it, because if they don't talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. And we talk about sexual harassment. This was done to a white woman. Black women, they act like we don't even exist with the sexual harassment. The sisters, they think that we're supposed to just be able to accept it and move on about it. And that is a whole nother issue. And what they don't understand is that when you have this type of standard and not, dealing with it, people are talking. People are talking. I had 4 community meetings this week, and every meeting they talked to me about this. Every single meeting. Some sent me emails, some pulled me to the side, some text me later. I've taken so many calls, and when we talk about it, it's serious. And what they have to understand with our, and it's a cultural thing. White women are going to support white women, and they are supporting her. No matter what they say, about her, they're supporting her. And them trying to shame her, people are trying to shame her, isn't working. It's drawing more people to protect her, which she should have been protected by her job. When I read through that case, unbelievable. And then you look at it, it's all over social media, all over, and it's like, why is it no one talking about sexual harassment and a new policy and training? Because clearly they don't know what it looks like and what it is. So if you don't know what it looks like and what it is, they need to have a sexual harassment training. They need to have one to make sure it doesn't happen again. And maybe people need to quit picking up their dates at work, like the Tennessee department. That didn't fare well. They handled their business.
It's called professionalism, and it's called doing the right thing. I mean, it's just beautiful people, attractive people, and story being told. Especially they have a locker room setting in the police department, so y'all know about what happens in the locker room.
Yeah.
So, but people they just gotta say no. If it ain't
Okay, but
right,
here's the thing.
just say no.
Here's the thing, though, Rich. It begins with the leadership. If the person, it's the chief, the buck stops whoever the chief is. And if the chief isn't handling it,
the chief and the mayor, I hate to say it, and the mayor too.
Absolutely, because the chief serves at the pleasure of the mayor. So when we talk about it should not be accepted, once it is brought to your attention, handle it. And it should be handled expeditiously. That's not something you can put on the back burner. That should be handled because women are working in the workplace. This isn't the 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, or 60s. Women have to work. Women provide. We have more single head of households than ever before. Over 60% of families or with children are divorced. So when we talk about women are working, women work. There's no one. I don't have one friend that's a housewife.
Oh, we say something about the administration happened. Hey, a guy named Kevin Lester say if this happened during the Weaver administration, that's when the sexual harassment training had begun.
He needs to get himself right on up out of here because Kevin Lester always got some negative, nasty stuff to say. He come on here with other mess, always got something to say, and he just grinds me. It don't matter what department. It should have been. What is not being done is handled now. It's not. And that is where it should be handled right now. I ain't thinking about Kevin Lester.
Lorraine Lawson Thompson said, can you touch on the fire lawsuits?
Yeah. And we have not had any executive sessions. And my deepest sympathy to the mom and to the father, and to the family who lost those two little boys, Lamar and Zaire Mitchell. When you talk about the loss of life, it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. If it was a mistake, don't cover it up. The changing the documents, and I read the reports. I requested the reports back in June. And by the time I got them, I got some. They were filtering out. It took them like 2.5 months to give me all the documents. And I knew what the documents were. My ex-husband was the fire marshal. So I understand how to read, and what's in those reports. And when we look at the time that they needed to survive, 6 minutes, 2 minutes, a minute is crucial, and they weren't afforded that. It's for search and rescue. We've had parents say, and I had a conversation with a resident yesterday, and she says, well, Tonya, I'm really bothered by, the parents weren't at home and they didn't have working smoke detectors. Well, let me be clear on this, because there were it was an unfortunate incident in Grosse Pointe where 2 little white boys lost their life, and the community circled around the parents to support them. The mother Miss Cooper had dropped the children off with the father for the weekend. And it is not against the law to have a child for 12 years old to watch a child. It's not. My children, I was a latchkey kid in 2nd grade. I wasn't 12 in the 2nd grade. I had a key I wore around my neck, and I went home until my parents worked. And for the father to be gone, he would leave, I guess, in the morning to go work out while the children were sleeping, and for a short errand. That's common, that children are left home alone for short periods of time. When we compare it to how this community support Miss Cooper and how the Grosse Pointe community supported the white family, it's totally different. People in this community have sought blame. Black people in this community have sought to blame this mother. And that's not what it is. Smoke detectors are there to alert you. They don't pull you out the fire. Your smoke detector, depending on what type or how deep of a realm sleep you're in, you won't hear it. And so if it's going off and you're not hearing it, if in fire sitting out in front of your house waiting, that's not how it happens. There was a report done some years ago, and the report was stating children generally don't hear those like that, and you need to practice fire once a month, meeting place outside for how to meet outside if there is a fire. Well, most Black people in this community, listen, we can't get bottled water. How you gonna focus on planning a fire escape plan? I mean, we have so many issues that are in this city that fire rescue plan is not at the top. Most homes you go to do not have working smoke detectors. They do not. I have given out thousands of smoke detectors over the past 25 years. I gave them out free with every alarm system that was sold. If a home and a salesperson went to the home and they did not have a smoke detector and still didn't want to purchase an alarm, we gave them a free smoke detector, because that's what you call working with the community. And then Fire Chief Barton with the Black Firefighters Association have been giving out free smoke detectors since the 70s. They raise their own money and they give it out. So to blame the mother for this is really egregious.
Miss Burns, let me cut you off. I'm gonna give it right back to you. I'm gonna give it right back to you.
I'm gonna finish this thought. So when we talk about working smoke detectors, they are supposed to alert you and wake you up, but they don't always. A child with some of the smoke detectors, what they said, the best type of smoke detector is a child hearing a parent's voice recorded saying, "Fire, get out, fire, get out," because they don't hear that. So this community saying, well, they didn't have working smoke detectors. Sometimes you sleep so hard, we sleep through gunshots in this neighborhood. That's our norm. So to a smoke detector, and these were and children hide. When a fire breaks out, generally they may go to a closet underneath the bed, so they may not hear. They get scared. So when we aren't educating people, and my children did the smokehouse until they were too old. At 18, they were no longer the prop children with their dad, which take around the smokehouse. But we shouldn't be blaming them. We should all be supporting them and saying, you know what, this family, let's treat them as good as the family in Grosse Pointe, or even better. But our community is so split. Those two little boys, after reading that report, those 6 minutes could have very well saved their lives. And they should have been afforded that opportunity. And if it was something so innocent, why are you falsifying legal documents? You cannot falsify a police report. It is against the law.
Yes, it
Go
is.
ahead, Rich. I'm
Now,
sorry.
I want to say no. That long explanation that you just gave, you should not have having to give, because the question at hand was neglect of responsibility that those two firefighters did, and I am tired of these people that switching up and changing conversations and subjects in that manner is not fair. Just like I'm not going to call out any name.
Well, here's the role of every firefighter. Firefighter's job is search and rescue. Search and rescue.
And they didn't do their job. They didn't do their job. And that should be the subject. Nothing else.
When those two little boys, when you're a parent, and if you're not a parent,
7 minutes.
If you don't have empathy for this family, something's wrong with you. You are a cold.
Hey guys, can I chime in for a second?
I'm sorry, this
this is how I feel about it. Chief Barton got fired for keeping it 100. Got fired for keeping it real. Allegedly, man, it's a bunch of. I'm just gonna say it. It's a bunch of cover-ups, man. Allegedly, I gotta say allegedly. Gotta add allegedly. in the city of Flint, man. And we all know who behind most of the cover-ups. I ain't gonna even say his name, but allegedly, like I said, all I can say is this: justice for the Mitchell boys, and justice for Montrese Davis, and also justice for Chief Burton. You know what I mean? And all I'm gonna say, all that certain person got to do is call Kwame Kilpatrick. You're not untouchable. That's all I gotta say about that.
And we cannot forget about Chief Burton. And let me tell you something, when it comes to when Mayor Neely first got into office, there were some things I knew he was getting rid of the police chief, and Chief Hart was coming in. And me and him had a talk. I said, the fire department is fine. They're running effectively, they're running smoothly. That department is good, because I knew Ray Barton. Ray Barton, I've known him for over 30 something years. He's a librarian, and he used to work at the library, the Flint Public Library. And my ex-husband, which we shared, my last name used to be Barton. People thought that me and Ray Barton were we were relatives, and we're not. And both of them went through the fire academy at different places. Chief Barton went to Flint Fire. My ex-husband went to Saginaw Fire Department. So when we talk about going way back, and they would share the same books with each other. Both of them are, I love the library, and they would share the same books. So I know him. He's a good man. That tore him apart. It tore him apart to see that. And then when you're being told to not say something, I don't want you to say something. You don't talk, or and you in your heart of hearts are feeling like it's on my conscience and I got to talk. That is a heavy burden, especially when two children who have the same color skin as you have lost their lives. Even if they were white, it's a tragedy. Any child. But when you have a Black mayor telling a Black fire chief to lie about two Black children who lost their lives, we have a problem. I have known Chief Barton.
Ms. Barnes, when you get done, you got to call her. Hold on. Go ahead.
So I know Chief Barton is a good man, and he does stuff for free. Whenever you ask him to show up for something, all right, I'm there. And he's not a whole lot of hoopla. He's not he's not Eric Mays, with that's not him.
He's straight to business.
He goes in, he does his job, and we don't know how much he does. Then we had Deputy Chief Carrie Edwards. We had a great team. There was no money for the Flint Fire Department. They were keeping that together and keeping this city safe for the residents, which was something that they were doing a hell of a job. They worked their, and I'm going to say, asses off to maintain. We have fire search and rescue. Fire Chief Barton did, and Deputy Chief Carrie Edwards did. And when to have them to both not be there, to lose the top 1 and 2 at the same time, that should never happen. That shouldn't happen. I don't know what's going to come out of this. What I do know is, as a mom, I can't tell Miss Crystal Cooper or the children's father how they feel, because my children, to God be the glory, are still living. I don't know how. I don't know how she's doing. I don't know how. But we need to keep her held up in prayer, and we need to make sure in this community that it was a mistake. It happened, and we need to support her, because she still has to live through this. There's no amount of money, whatever this lawsuit, that's going to satisfy her. She doesn't get her children.
She got the finger pointed at her. That's don't never point the finger at the victim again. That's sad.
But we had other Black people in the Black community doing it. And when we have them doing it, it allows others who don't share the same melanated skin as we do, that it's giving them a free pass to do it. It's not okay if the children are Black or white to say the parents are our fault. I don't care what color you are. When it comes to that situation, you don't blame the parent. Not when it's tragic mistakes happen. What shouldn't have happened was them not, falsifying those documents. saying we searched that room and you didn't. Come out and say you made a mistake. Because
Hey,
mistakes unfortunately happen.
I'll interrupt you right quick. Shout out Arthur Woodson. Shout out to Arthur Woodson. Shout out to Arthur Woodson, because no matter what, how many people tried, because there was a lot of them out there trying to change up all that. He stuck to his gun. And he got them right next to where they are now. And I salute you for that. I salute Arthur Woodson for that. And we need that, because we are in a time where people like to change the subject. I'm gonna give y'all with Devon Dries. I know I don't have a direct line to the mayor. I know I don't have a direct line to Chief Green, but I know a person that do. And I called that person, and that person instantly pissed me off and said, oh, he had an arrest warrant. A warrant has nothing to do with whether or not you were chasing that guy. And there's no police chases in Flint.
I don't, that part.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, I got a caller for you. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Go ahead. She can hear you. Yeah, she can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Dante. I was calling to ask. I brought these situations up like 2 years ago. My first initiation conversation with you was most of the crimes, statistically proven, most of the crimes is coming from the departments. It's not coming from inside the city. As bad as it looked at one time, you would say that, yeah, they would blame it on us or the little kids, the little black kids is this and that. But that wasn't the situation. Instead of like, we always say like, oh, we can talk about it and do something. They're not just talking about it and not doing nothing about it. They're reforming, their space. Like it's about power. And it's a lack of that control and power in our field. We don't have the same, resources they have, I guess.
Well, are you speaking as far as, are you saying you're comparing the police department with the public, or what are your comparisons that you're drawing?
I'm saying all the departments, the legislation at itself, and if all the Flint litigation that goes on, everything is controlled.
So you're saying that the litigation is controlled. So you're saying that when it goes to court, that
when it goes to court, when even at a lower level, just us in this system, they're all controlling it. Like if we would have had the plan when I came to y'all with mental health, just be honest. When I came to y'all with mental health, we would have had this ball rolling, and this program could have been so lucrative for the state, the whole state of Michigan, not just Flint. But we could have been advanced, and this could have been money that could have been brought in. So now everybody's on it. Everybody got the idea. Everybody's rolling the ball. So,
well, 2 years ago, I was not the council person. Yeah, two years ago, I was not the council person. I support mental health services, and people will tell you, I believe, hey, therapy. I mean, you want a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit. That is important to me. Now we do have a millage to where Genesee County Community Mental Health is receiving money, and that rollout on that has been, I don't know where that's at. But we do pay for that. There is mental health services over at St. Mark Church with Pastor Thompson, and there are some other agencies. One of the problems, Dante, that I found out, people don't know where to get resources, where they're at, where they're posted, how to receive them. One thing I do not, and I did speak with Chief Green. I've spoken with him numerous times about this. When police officers come to certain scenes, they're supposed to be offering help for certain and connecting them. And this is something that is set up with the city. And because that was one of the issues I did speak with him about. And even services for family.
But when you on mental health, you have to be drooling, retarded. Their perception of mental disabilities is not the same as mental disabilities is equipped with. Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't as stupid and retarded and drooling and uneducated. Marilyn Manson wasn't dumb, stupid, retarded, and uneducated. Jack Kevorkian was a doctor. Like the perception perception of what they have for mental health is wrong. The police, their attitude with conducting themselves and with the public and the people is wrong. If they're under oath, their oath is to serve and protect. Serve comes first, then protect comes next. So that way they have a code of conduct of ethics they supposed to uphold. I can get as mad and as pissed and as upset as I want to. They on their job. I'm not working. That's how it's supposed to be, but it's vice versa.
Well,
Code of
and
conduct
we
needs definitely.
Well, and there has to be
Definitely.
proper
They need
training, and for the
Definitely.
departments that they know how to handle it.
Definitely.
One thing, and our department, not just our department, a lot of, and I'm not giving excuses. They're short, so they're running from call to call. They don't have time to spend the amount of time that they would need because we don't really have community policing. For someone to
Tonya.
be there, they're running from gunshot to gunshot. So
No, I want to address that right quick, Tonya.
go ahead.
They
Okay.
got funding.
I have been talking to y'all. It's a known fact. We need more police officers. And it's also a known fact that we are losing our police officers shortly after they come out of training. What needs to be done to bring more police officers and better pay and competitive pay for our police force? What do we have to do? What do y'all have to propose that we have to support? Because it's going to take us to get this done.
They have a union and they have a contract that's coming up, I believe, on the agenda for Monday. So that will be going over this Monday. So that's why residents have to get involved, get engaged. People say, I don't want to sit in council meetings because they're too long. Can you afford to not sit in council meetings? And how are things working out for you? And that's the thing. We cannot say I want things to improve and don't do anything. What say faith without works is dead. You have to get involved. This is a call I got to take real quick. Can you mute my mic? This is about the water.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I got you. Hold on. I got you. Hold on.
Why you got to mute it?
Hold on. I got you. Hold on. Let me take Miss Tonya off right quick. Go ahead. All right. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, now, y'all hear me? I'm preaching about the body cams. I'm preaching about the dash cams. I'm preaching about the injustices that's being done by our police department. But I want to say this. I know a lot of police that work in the city of Flint, and all of them don't give me that bad feeling. And matter of fact, I had a meeting with two of them yesterday, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight because we need quality policing. And if you can get paid more money to not deal with as many problems as you would be dealing with in the city of Flint, then you're going to continue to lose your officers. Ms. Burns, I was just telling the people, because I'll be griping about the police a lot. But it is a lot of good ones out there, and they deserve a pay raise, and they deserve the kind of living that would keep them wanting to come to work and do a great job, not a frustrating job for the citizens of Flint.
Right, and maybe, and I support the police. I support good police, and I know a lot of great police men and women. I do, and so when we talk about working conditions and pay, it's important. And then also leadership. People want to go where they're appreciated, they're paid for their service, they're respected, and they want to get back. That is the ultimate public service job. When you go in there and you risking your life, because I had a high-speed chase. I was bringing in the dog last Saturday, and I was bringing him in, and I had looked down. I see it was Flint Township had pulled down. They were pulling. It was a 4-door 10 Malibu in front of them, and your intuition is like something. This isn't right, and so they pulled down maybe a house down past me, and I'm watching. I'm like, let me just stay here and watch. not only for the residents' safety or the people in the vehicle, but for the police officer safety, because adrenaline gets the rush, and I just knew it. So the one officer got on the right-hand side. He went around to the driver's side, then he went around to the passenger side. I ended up grabbing my phone then. And sure enough, when he was talking with them, they took off. They pushed him back. He fell into the bank. It was still snow on the ground. He fell back into the snow. Then he got up real quick, jumped in the passenger side of the cruiser, and they took off. But the helicopter was there. And so I'm like, this, only thing that they still gonna get arrested because they're not gonna outrun the Michigan State Trooper Chopper 1. I think that's the whole name. So when we talk about how we get good police, we have to tell our leadership we want good police. And also there needs to be, I feel, an advisory to where, we're residents talk with them. We getting the same people. Now the community policing person is Sergeant Booth. And I've got people called and told me they don't want him at another meeting.
Absolutely. They shouldn't want him there.
Yeah,
hey, go ahead.
And I had people tell me, why was he at a meeting this past week with the mayor? And I'm going to tell you something. I do not have anything against Sergeant Booth. He has always been respectful to me. He has always been very personable. He has always called me back. Now, if he made a dumb mistake, I don't, I wasn't there at that time. That part was prior to me. And I've never had a conversation with Sergeant Booth, but he has always gotten back with me very timely. Very respectful to me and addressed my needs. But this case coming back up, it's hot. And as a woman, as a council person, we have to look at what is the sexual harassment. And I don't want to, indict him or incriminate him on anything. My experience with him has nothing but been professional.
He's still innocent to proven guilty, right? Did he?
Well, there's no. This was a settlement. This was a settlement. So it didn't go. It didn't.
Oh, so okay. So basically, he admitted to it, right?
No, he there was no settlement. It means you're not guilty or.
Oh, you just plead the fifth.
Well, it never went to court. It's settled. So none of that is relevant. None of that is relevant. But like I said, so we haven't heard her side. Which is I'm watching the news like all of you. She does a news show and talks about it. I'm going to be listening in. I will be listening in like everyone else, because people do want to hear her side of the story. But I want to say, I did not have, communication. Sergeant Booth is very well spoken. Pardon me?
Can she do a show being that she took that settlement? It could part of that settlement be that she had to be quiet?
I'm not her attorney. I don't think she has that. I think she can talk. But people who want, maybe they should reach out. Her side of the story should be told. You got Councilman Mays pushing at that podium, and that exchange between him and Chief Green was terrible.
You should see that.
Hey, I want to
see the Facebook changes that's going on between Winters Hall and a couple of people. It's really you think that's something. That's really something.
Winter's show is she get into it. She put it up there, and it's like she lay it on the floor. But John, your show, you landed on the floor too.
Always.
Hey, Ms. Barnes, I got one last question for you. For me, I know you can't say too much, but I want your honest opinion. How I know? I'm not asking you to say nothing messed up or nothing. But how is it your honest opinion working with this council, man? Is it, you know what I mean? How do you really feel about working with this council you on right now? Yeah. I was gonna ask you that. Now, come on now.
I've watched council all the way back, and attended meetings. So I didn't just jump on council and I've watched them for a decade, past 10 years plus. So this council, you got to have some skin in the game in the community. And, a lot of people, like to say pretty speeches, and I'm looking at, where was you for the water crisis? Did you protest? Have you delivered water? Have you, there's so much, the quickness to shut people down is a problem for me. People is very clear. We're split, usually a 5 to 6 vote. And when we vote, I vote fair, and I vote my conscience, and I also vote according to how the residents in my ward is a split ward. My demographic is almost, it's probably almost like a 60-40 or 50-50 when it comes to black and white. So I'm really a neutral person. Wards 1, 2, and 3 are 90% black. Wards 1, 2, and 3 are wards 90% black. So for them, they have to have a black agenda. We have 5 black council people and no black agenda in a city that's predominantly black, with a black mayor, a black fire chief, and a black police chief. We have no black agenda. And so when we look, and a black school board predominantly. So when we look at that, is our race, we keep giving up all of our power. So when people say that, this is the question I ask everybody. When people call me and it's not in my district, or they used to be in my district, and they're now switched over. Some say they're not changed. They don't like the new council person. They're not dealing with them. And that is what it is. You can't make nobody call somebody. You can't do that.
Hey, Miss Ty, I lied. I got one more question for you. This Black History Month, what does it mean to you as you being a black woman? We got a black woman on the Michigan Supreme Court justice. We also got a black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court justice. What does Black History Month mean to you as a woman in power?
Well, let me say this, and I'm gonna wrap this other one up. When we talk about the council, this council needs to find more common things to work together. In a black city with a predominantly black council, there should be a black agenda for the black people. Those are the voters, and there should be that. So when we talk about what do we have, when we talk about women and black women in power, I met the Supreme Court before she was a Supreme Court justice. She was running. I like her. I really do like her. But we have to hold our black elected officials hands to the fire. We talk about black representation. I do not forget where I come from. And if y'all call me, you get Tonya. I'll be like, just call me Tonya. Titles don't make it. Some people get stuck on titles. They get stuck on the title and they forget about the work. And I would tell people, a title is not a paycheck. And what is your paycheck? I'm trying to get to heaven. I'm worried about and concerned about paying my dues so that, I know who holding me accountable. I want God to say, hey, sir, job well done. And that is my purpose. When I look at some of our black leaders, they need to be researching black history, because each black person that sits in the seat, someone before them paved the road, whether it was the Civil Rights Bill, fair housing, equal jobs and opportunity. Someone black paved the way for them. And now a lot of these folks, they brand new. I'm the first woman to sit in the 6th ward as the council person. And I'm a black woman. So I'm the first black woman, and first black woman to sit in the 6th ward. That ward had been it was white males up until Mayor Neely took that seat. And then it was Herbert Winfrey, and then me. So I'm the first woman. So we talk about Black history. We need to celebrate our melanated skin, our melanated victories. We need to, and it's okay to say that. People want to suppress it and be like, oh, you're too black. What is too black? I mean, if you come to Tonya Burns' house, and I don't care, Chinese, Asian, Middle Eastern, because I celebrate them. Depending on if whatever I'm cooking, yes, there will be greens, fried chicken, hot water, cornbread, pinto beans, because that's, that's my culture. And you have to keep your culture. I will not acclimate myself to someone else's culture because I'm very proud of what my heritage, my ancestors, and what people need to remember. Every Black person came over here generally as a slave, whether they were an indentured servant or not. We didn't have the same rights. We did not. So we got to quit acting like we brand new or I'm better than you. We're not better than each other. We are absolutely not. And I'm not acclimating myself to somebody else. And not one white person has ever told me we need you to acclimate yourself to appease us. That hasn't happened. And I didn't deal with some. I've flown on private jets with people with sending me places. I've ate at some the finest restaurants, nicest vacation places. It's how you do business. What they never asked me to do was sell my race out. Now I done got into it with a couple of them who were racist who wanted to check me with your boy Obama. Hold up. Y'all, now I may think Obama could have done more. President Obama could have done more. But what you don't get to do is speak on that, not in front of me. But what the funny thing was,
because he could have done less.
Right. But the funny thing was, I didn't have to check the two races. Who checked them was two white twin brothers who lived in Seattle. And then the president of the time of ADT, Joe checked them, and Joe was white. So when we talk about, other people, when you talk, we got to get together and understand and celebrate each other's differences. That's how I feel.
Hey, let me chime in right quick, Rich. Then we get you something in closing, and then we get Miss Tonya in closing because we've been on almost an hour and a half. I know she's busy. Listen, I want to piggyback off what you said about basically being pro-Black. I got a lot of white friends. I don't got a racist bone in my body. There's nothing wrong with being pro-Black, pro your race, whatever your race is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. And then to piggyback on what you said when they said something about Obama, a lot of people might get mad at me, what I'm finna say. But y'all probably heard me say it before. Trump did more for Black people than Obama did. And I'm just gonna leave it right there. And it's facts though. That's a fact. I mean, I'm glad he was our first Black president. All that. I'm glad all that. That's hunky dory. But he didn't do too much for the Black people that he should have. You know what I mean? But like I said, ain't nothing wrong with being pro-Black, and I don't got a prejudice bone in my body. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Hakeem Jeffries. You can see that they're pushing him to be Hakeem Jeffries. I'm thinking they're gonna want to push him maybe for president because they're really saying, "Oh, Hakeem Jeffries." I like Hakeem Jeffries, and he's a great orator. And when I think of a great orator, I'm sorry, Dr. King's speeches, and I studied him in college. That's a hard speech to follow. Dr. King had some speeches that were just anointed. I'm not in his personal life or in his bed where people will say, oh, well, he messed around on his wife. Well, you know what? Everybody's seeing. But them speeches and what he did, and to be nonviolent, he did something that most people could not do. Nonviolent. And that time and period. But I'm with you. I feel Obama, president, because I'm going to put some respect on his name. President Obama, we wanted to see do more.
And on top of that, all he did was came to Flint and lied, drunk that water. He ain't even had to do that. He ain't had to do. I got to cuss one time, Miss Tonya. He ain't had to do that shit because he was on his way out the door. I can see if he was running for a re-election, he was on his way out the door. He didn't have to come up to Northwestern, sip the water, barely touch his lips, and say, Flint water is fixed. He wrong, man. I got people right now in Atlanta, Texas, California. Every time I talk to them, we thought the water was fixed. Oh, y'all thought the water was fixed because Obama drank the water, huh? You know what I mean? So he was wrong for that.
But see, that's
he was wrong. He was wrong for that. That's why I'm mad at him. Other than that, you know what I mean?
And that's where you said something very key. Messaging. They know it's messaging and marketing. To have President Obama drink that water did send a signal the water is okay to the world. So certain cues and things are done slick. You have to pay attention to that. That was done on purpose. Send a message that the water is okay. And that sends a message that the federal government is aware of it. And they're making, and you feel, okay, well, the president knows Flint has got to be okay. That is what that message did. Just like you puts a new pair of shoes on, let's say them Jeezys that Kanye West. There's some ugly shoes.
Them Yeezys.
I didn't call them Jeezys. them Yeezys, those are not nice looking shoes. You're paying all that money, but because they are attached to Kanye West, people want the Yeezys. They want them.
Yeah, you're right, but that was a like Gina Luster just said. His PR team made a huge mistake, and he shouldn't have did that, man. That's all I'm saying. But what you got for us, Rich? What you got? We're gonna close out in a minute, man.
Well, I gotta say, this has been a wonderful show, and I thank you, Tonya Burns and Terrence. You the man. I'm in the crowd of unfriendlies, and you made the unfriendlies friendly, turning down music and all that stuff and paying attention to conversation. So I really appreciate that. Now Tonya said something that was very important, and she said a lot that was important, but this is very important. Y'all need to get down to that council meeting on Monday. And Tonya, I'll talk to those 2 police officers, and maybe not tomorrow, and then maybe not Monday, but be prepared to see a lot of blue sitting up in there. Because like I said, most of them are good. It's just a few bad ones that I have problems with. But I'm not going to let them, the bad ones, interfere how I move. Because me and Terrence had a conversation when you came on and said that you wanted to come on with us. I said that the city council should be making $90,000 to $100,000 a year. But that council that currently is sitting in that chamber, and no offense to you, but I can't fight for that. I can't fight for that.
Well, let me tell you, go ahead.
Y'all need that because, like you said, you put in more than 8 hours a day, and you deserve that 8 hours a day pay. But I can't fight for you right now, sis, because there's gonna be rewarding 5 people that really. They voted against the House of Extra. I can't fight for them, and Pfeiffer don't need it anyway.
Pfeiffer said he has been on the record. Now, I'm not gonna lie for anybody, but I ain't gonna lie on him. Pfeiffer did state that he did wish that council was paid more, but he does not want he does not want nor need it. With his business, my business predominantly, I didn't make money here in Flint. I kept it based here, but I made my money in Illinois. Michigan was such a tough market, but I kept it based here because I believe in Flint. But now I'm here 100% of the time, and when we talk about that it's hard, but and it's not an 8-hour job. Let me tell you, Rich, it's mine is 24/7. I have had to go. I remember the hardest call I got was when I got a call where a mom, her home was shot up, and I think she had that time it was 29 bullets in it, and it was she called me, and I'd taken that dog out. And when I came back in, she had called me like 5-6 times, and I called her back, and she was hysterical. And she was so hysterical. She lived on Thomas Street, and we didn't have a police officer to send to her home. I called the Michigan State Post Commander, and she picked her. She didn't say hi. She said, "I'm answering you on my iPad. Give me the address." And I'm giving her the address. So immediately she's dispatching, and she don't even live in the post commander. She's dispatching the troopers over there. Within 2 to 3 minutes, Michigan State troopers locked down Thomas Street, gotten footage, did an investigation. I had called Chief Green first. I didn't get a call. I texted him and I called him. I had a conversation with him 2 council meetings ago. I said, "Chief, I've been trying to contact you. I called you, I texted you, I emailed you. I said, I need to speak with you." He said, "What?" He said, nah. I said, "Nah." He said, I said, I'm serious about this, but I have a meeting. What do you need? I said, I'm not getting ready to talk to you. I'm headed back into a meeting. What do you want? I said, no. You keep that energy. Because what I haven't done is talk about that police department with everything I know that's going on. When I'm asking you about issues that are going on, you the department head. It's your responsibility to answer. I'm trying to help you, but you can't, I don't get it. I mean, it's like take your personal feelings out of stuff. I'm calling you about issues with the community or emailing you. If you're getting an email, respond. But I will say this, Booth does respond to me, Sergeant Booth. He would always respond. And that, like I said, I didn't have an incident with him. I appreciate it, but we didn't get all the, we still have to work with
pray
them.
for Sergeant Booth, because this, I know it ain't looking good for him, but he not a terrible person. But
Yeah.
it is what it is as far as that them phone calls and text messages go. But as an individual, minus all of that, he's a good person. But it's just
Did he
sad.
make a
It's
stupid
just sad
mistake?
things working out the way it is.
Yeah. And did he make us? We are all human. Did he make a stupid mistake?
He made some terrible decisions.
We don't know, right? But I have always had a positive interaction with Sergeant Booth, and that goes back to 2019 with working with him. He is, to me, he has always been very respectful to me. And always, well, how can I help you? Which I have the how can I help you attitude. But I don't know what happened, I don't know. That's not my job to do that. Council had to make a decision. We had 3 voted no, 1 was absent. I think Pfeiffer was absent, and the other 5 voted yes to pass that.
Yep.
So we will see. I know Monday afternoon, what Councilman made something. They didn't call the tiger by the tail. I don't think Chief Green will be in council chambers on Monday. Because he knows that Councilman Mays it's going to probably be a problem. I don't think he's going to be there because Clyde Edwards dismissed them right after that exchange. He dismissed all the staff before 9:00 after the exchange.
They probably won't send no staff up there Monday. They probably be staffless.
Right, but here's the thing: the public has got to start speaking out about that. Like I said, they didn't play out their playbook. I'll get back with you. Can you send me an email? They should have did that. Terrence, I know we just talking and taking over your show, and Terrence, I want to say this. I think I said more cuss words than you did. I said 2. You may have said 1.
Hey, Miss Tonya, I broke the record. I only said 1 cuss word. I broke the record.
You're doing good, man. 2023. Thank y'all. I love y'all. But Miss Burns, I also want to give you a shout out because you stood up when we getting those late night phone calls and people tried to change your subject and your direction and your conversation, and you didn't let it change. And I give you shout outs for that too when you was reporting all of those students and giving those shouts out to those people to try to curb the violence in Flint. I appreciate you for that too. I remember that. I mean, and like I said, it's a shame. This woman was appealing to parents after they had lost their children and stuff, and yet people, instead of trying to get in and help and make it go better and smoothing things out for them, they want to attack Tonya.
Hey, Miss Tonya, let me say this right quick. I just want to tell you, I extend my hand out to you anytime you need this platform. You're welcome. And despite what you heard, I'm not saying you did or whatever they said about me, it wasn't too bad, was it, Miss Tonya? It was all right, show, wasn't it?
You're not listening.
And I ain't cussed because of you. I respect you.
And I respect you, and I respect your platform.
Thank you.
I appreciate you getting this out to the public. And what people say, you got to deal with everybody. Like I tell people, the hood been good to me. I know where I came from. My grandma used to play cards, and she used to take me as a little girl to play cards, and that's a part of the Black culture. And I talk about it. So listen, you cussing, You know, I appreciate you respecting me.
Hey, Miss Barnes, that's the snow show. That's the snow show when I cut up. That's the snow show. Everybody, ain't nobody safe from the snow show. Nobody.
I know. Thank you for having me. And let me tell you something. You know, you can do a lot of shows, but the shows that matter to me are the ones who are community based. Those are the ones that touch my heart. I had someone send me a text message, and I was shocked. And the person said, "Thank you for standing up for the community. You know, you make my heart smile." You know, and I appreciate, because that's, most people don't know that's a term that I use to people, that you make my heart smile. And this is from another Black person in our community that I respect.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda.
That I respect. So when the community shows, it begins local, I'm local, and that I want to do good for my community. I just need my community to have my back. That's all.
Hey, you well respected, Miss Tonya Barnes. You respected, and you see right there at the left of you, right there, you see, I got a water crisis memoir I wrote. I got no support. I wrote it like 2 years ago during the pandemic. It's called Black Water. I'm gonna get you a copy. It's called Black Water. On the Flint water crisis. It's like a 15, 20-minute read. It's a memoir. You know, they sound ignorant, dumb, and belligerent and all that, like they do, Eric. But I'm educated. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send you a copy of this memoir. It should have went viral. I didn't get no support. I get support from Atlanta, California, Texas, but no support from Flint, Michigan. But
send me a copy. But we got.
I got you. I'm gonna send you a copy.
Terrence, can we re-release it or anything?
You say what?
Can we re-release it? Release it again?
Yeah. We'll re-release it.
The book signings again.
Yeah, we'll re-release it. We'll do it. But I just want to say that, Miss Tonya Barnes. What you got for us in closing, Miss Tonya?
I want you to know this. I'm a part of this community too. I don't judge anybody. I never ever judge it, because I do watch your show. I watch your show. I watch the Witness Hall show. I watch Arthur Woodson's. I don't know if you call his a show. He just on all the time.
That's Debo. Right. Hey, Miss Tonya, that's Debo.
Debo is always on all the time. You know, so I do support those who are local. You know, those that's where my heart is at. Home is where the heart is. And I never thought, listen, if you ever talk to my daddy, trust me, he swear more than you. So believe me. And he's very straightforward and direct. So I appreciate you having me on. This was good. Hello. Well, look like Rich trying to order.
Man, Rich, hey, you know what? This time, Rich got to go. Look, he got to get some what you call it, Facebook etiquette or something. Rich always messes the live up, man. But you got anything to say in closing, Miss Tonya? We're gonna get out of here.
Say for everyone, you know, the council meetings, I know people say they long. You got to show up, because if we want our council or in our city to improve, we got to show up. And you look at how it works when people come in and they say that Saturday, when you say, hey, this is what I need my council person to do. I invite my residents to come all the time. And it's usually someone always from the 6th ward that's in there. You got to speak up for yourself. And we can't just say, oh, well, they're just not going to change. We have to force the hands of some people to change. And especially if we feel we're not getting service in the Black community, those awards 1, 2, and 3. What you need to do is make sure we speaking up and letting them know. If you ain't voting on Black issues that affect your ward where it's 90% Black, you got to come and speak up. If you have an issue, there's an issue. I've been getting calls for Fenton Road, where they have a lot of prostitution. You know, they need to speak up. That's not even my ward, Fenton Road, but we have to speak up. It's going to take the community to save the community, and that's a fact. Love to everyone, and hello and love and goodbye. Enjoy y'all evenings, and Terrence, I'm telling you, I enjoyed this, and we got to do this again.
I enjoyed you too.
Because I like keeping it real.
Yep. Yeah. But like I said, anytime you need to get on and put something out, let me know. We not just on Facebook. You gonna be on the national show. It's called Media Made Radio. On every Wednesday, I'm putting this show on there. I'll be on Twitch. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Spotify. You name it. I'm on iHeart Radio. I'm everywhere. So yeah, I ain't just on Facebook. Yo, this telecast go everywhere. So I appreciate you, Miss Tonya Barnes, spending some time with me and Rich today, and telling us the Black agenda and the things that you told us, and I appreciate you for keeping it real, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Have a good one, Terrence.
All right, you too. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.
Ray, you gone crazy.
You are now tapped in with the most realist and controversial show on the net. Flint After Dark Podcast. We speak for the streets. We speak for the streets. Yeah. You are now tapped in with the most realist and controversial show on the net. Flint After Dark Podcast. We speak for the streets.